Welcome, everyone, to the second episode of the Cody Miller podcast, recorded November 11th, 2018, from my living room. I'm currently 2 feet away from our Christmas tree. You heard that correct. Our Christmas tree. Allie likes to put up Christmas decorations
not all
pretty
the time.
much 2 months in advance. And I'm sorry if you hear little footsteps. My dog is walking around. We are in our kitchen right now. You might hear some weird noises. First of all, the podcast, I want to become a place where I bring on guests. Probably Blake will be my regular co-host, but where we talk 80% swimming, 20% other things. So if you're a swim fan, if you're someone who's a fan of the vlog, if you've been following me for a period of time, I want to create a more open space for people to talk openly about swimming, all things swimming, because that's what we love. That's what we do. And I asked who you guys wanted to have me bring on the podcast next. A lot of you guys want me to have Ray on. A lot of you guys want me to have Lily on. But the most requested person, I think, was probably Allie. And Allie is here now. Thank you for being here, Allie.
Hello.
don't be so awkward. So I think this is the first podcast Allie's ever done. For those of you who don't know, it'd be a little weird if you're listening to my podcast and you don't know, but Allie's my wife. We were married a little over a year ago, and we met through swimming. Allie, so this podcast is going to be super casual. I shoot for generally like an hour, but I mean, this could be 30 minutes. This could be an hour and 30 minutes. I asked for questions. I asked you guys out there to send me all the questions you guys have for us, and we'll kind of go through those. We'll share some stories. We'll definitely talk some swimming. This probably won't be as swimming heavy as a normal podcast will typically be. And also, this will eventually be streamed live. This will eventually become a YouTube show. But that's all futuristic. That's later on. But for now, I'm here with Allie, and we're going to tell you guys a few stories. Allie was actually my coach.
I was the volunteer coach down at IU for Cody's senior year. I was a full-time teacher, and I owned my own swim club, and I ran the middle school program, all while being a volunteer coach down at IU.
So she actually drove a lot that year. She lived in a town called Martinsville, which is 30 minutes north of Bloomington, which is where we live. And I'm
from Martinsville originally.
Right, and you did 4 trips. She was at 5 a.m. morning practice and then back in Martinsville.
It was a good time.
How much driving a day were you doing then?
You know, my bonding time with the road was very significant during the day, but it was a good time. I popped a few tires, got pulled over once. It was a rough time in some aspects, but
you got to know me.
I did, and I had a lot of fun. Actually, that was a really fun year.
You've mentioned before that was one of the most fun years you've ever had.
Yes.
And you look back, and I've also heard you say that you don't know how you did it.
I don't. I think at that point in time, I was kind of in survival mode because I was so excited to be everywhere that I didn't really see how much I was doing until afterward. I'd wake up at 4 every morning, and I wouldn't even leave the pool in Martinsville until 9:30, and especially if we had a swim meet, middle school swim meet, then I would leave later than that. And it was a lot of fun, actually.
So for people who don't know, in Division I swimming, you are only allowed to have a certain number of coaches, and you're allowed to have one volunteer coach. And volunteer coaches, although they don't get paid, they're very highly coveted positions, especially at a school like Indiana, which is a top 5 program in the country. And people use that as a stepping stone to get into collegiate coaching. So that is the first step. Like, if you want to be a college coach, you pretty much have to become a volunteer somewhere.
Learn the ropes,
do well, and then, if you do well at IU, you get a good recommendation, and then Ray's like, hey, and then another school will hire you. And Allie was thinking about becoming a college coach.
Ray actually found me because his daughter was in middle school at the time, Mackenzie, and my middle school team beat their middle school team, and his wife was one of the coaches, and he was at one of the pools at the meet, and he came down, asked me my coaching philosophy, and from there asked me to be the volunteer coach.
I didn't know that.
I didn't give a second thought.
People out there don't know how good of a coach Allie actually is. Allie has been offered big coaching jobs around the country. I'm not going to call anyone out specifically, but she's been offered very big jobs without even, they're like, hey, you don't even have to interview. Like, we want to hire you. And Allie has said no to those programs.
I think there should only
with a lot of clout.
At this moment in our careers and in our lives, I think there can only be one with that really strict coaching schedule or swimming schedule, and I think he kind of already has that bill fit. So with that being said, I'm okay with not taking that step at the moment. And I love high school coaching, and I love club coaching. So that's where I've been since.
So this podcast is also, I've described it before as being an extension of the vlog. So it's another way for people to kind of get to know me a little bit better, people who like watching the vlogs regularly and just kind of want to learn more. And one question I get asked a lot, Allie, is what did you think when we first met? We'll share some stories throughout this podcast, I'm sure.
When I actually first met Cody, he wouldn't even look at me. He wouldn't even look at me. I tried to talk to him. His friends were all nice. The whole team was really nice. Cody, on the other hand, would not even look at me for the longest time. And I was like, well, that's kind of rude. And, and so that's how it started. So no, for all of you who have asked, I did not first see him and be like, oh, yes, he's going to be the one I marry.
Definitely had no idea.
No,
I definitely had no idea.
Not
even
at all.
when I first started dating Allie, I had no idea that I was going to, number one, fall in love with her, and number two, want to marry her. I had no idea. She was telling me in the car earlier, we were driving back from the mall, and side story, we went to the mall today, and Allie is a compulsive lover of all dogs, particularly small furry dogs. And I just wouldn't let her bring home
just
a third
anything
one.
furry.
That's true, any kind of dog.
Dogs, cats.
But we were driving back after I wouldn't let her bring home a third dog because we're not getting a third dog, Allie. Don't give me that look. We can't have a...
Cody, we could have a loyal band of furries.
We can't do it. We can't.
It'll be like a cotton balls.
Cotton ball squad. It's not in the cards right now. But she was telling me that her family at first didn't think that dating me was a good idea because they thought I was going to, it was my senior year, so they thought that I was going to graduate and then move back home.
So background story, I coach with my brother, which makes things a lot easier. And he told me very early on that he didn't think this was a good idea and that he thought Cody was going to leave. And I was really angry with him. He told me while we were coaching one day at practice, and I told him exactly what I thought about his feelings and his thoughts. And come to find out, I know that it was all in good heart, but at the same time, I was not wanting to hear that, and I didn't feel that was going to be the case. So, needless to say, my family definitely had reservations about Cody in the beginning.
but we're all friends now. We love each other now.
Yeah, everything's good.
I was slightly nervous when I first met your dad because that was like a big deal. I knew that you came from a good family and that your dad was kind of an old school traditional guy. And
yeah, my dad is a pretty aggressively spoken man, and he'll let you know very quickly how he feels about things. Well,
you clearly get it from your dad because you're super outspoken as well. That's one thing I like you. Funny thing, so Allie and I are both alpha type A personalities.
Yes.
We're both very aggressive and outspoken. And Lily oftentimes asks us, she's like, "How do you two work out?"
She asks me that every time I feel like I see her.
Yeah.
How does this act? She even asked us at our wedding. Allie, how does this actually work? You are just a really aggressive female. You're a type A. And I was like, Lil, it takes one to know one.
It's true.
And I said, it just kind of works.
There's a lot
We're
of
very
reasons
self-aware.
Yeah.
So therefore, we have no problem telling each other how we feel, but we are always very tactful.
Don't get me wrong. We get into fights. We get into arguments. We got to we do argue, but like she said, we're both very, very self-aware. And what I mean by that is we're understanding of our own quirks and our own feelings, and we kind of understand why we feel certain ways and why certain things.
And it's okay to disagree.
Oh, totally. And that's the other thing. We're very understanding of why each other disagrees with one another. But yeah, we'll have fights like this. Just this week, we had a serious fight. This is a real serious fight. So I
was really angry.
We have a friend in Los Angeles who is the CEO of a media company, and they produce content for Netflix and Hulu. And he got invited to the premiere screening, the American premiere screening of the new Fantastic Beasts movie.
I'm the one who found it. I'm the one who contacted him. And he said if one of us could make it work with our schedule,
he had a plus one. He had a plus one. He was like, if one of you guys can come out. And we had a brawl about who was going to go. A real fight.
Being a teacher,
I
thought that, maybe this isn't the best move. Sub plans are really hard. It was a Thursday night.
You didn't want to take time off work.
I would leave Thursday morning and come back Friday, so I'd have to skip both days. And sub plans are really inky to do, and I just didn't really. So I didn't really actually think Cody was going to go, but we were having.
It was a 24-hour trip.
Oh no! Just wait.
Okay,
so I'm sitting here. We had talked about the new Harry Potter pops, like the wave that just came out.
Those of you guys who have been following me know how much we love Harry Potter more than just everything.
I'm on the laptop, searching up all the pops, trying to figure out when they are released, where we can get them, which exclusives are where, and this whole time I'm talking to him, but he's kind of giving me like, oh yeah, that one's cool. Answers. So I didn't really think anything of it. He's sitting right next to me, but I wasn't paying attention to what he did. And come to find out, I look over at the end and he's booking flights. And I was like...
flights were free. Flights were paid for.
That is beside the point. I literally looked at him and said, I didn't know you were going.
And then we had a real fight.
And I was
but
not happy.
Let's be clear. I had not established that I was going at that
Don't worry,
time.
I made sure.
I had reserved flights, not specifically for her or I, but I mean, it's like a bomb went off in our house.
Don't worry, it was like pure jealousy, like anger jealousy toward him, and I let him know very quickly that the feelings I'm feeling toward him are jealousy and angry jealousy, which made us giggle. Yeah. But
I don't take it back. I haven't told her a thing about the movie. Like we haven't talked about it. It's not something that we're going to discuss.
It's a little sore subject.
It's not something we're going to discuss. I even brought at the premiere they had wands and they had all these cool Harry Potter stuff. And I was like, I have a gift for you, and she was just like,
I already saw it.
She wasn't happy about it. But yeah, we definitely have our fights and
which
stuff.
Which goes to the one question that Clarence Pryor asked of our competitive streaks.
Oh yeah, we're so competitive.
We are both as we are very type A. We're very competitive to the point where it's really hard to play games against each other. I'm really good at Super Smash Brothers. I beat him 2 times out of 3 Kirby versus Kirby on Super Smash Brothers, and he wasn't speaking to me that night, and I was revving it in. Then we went to, this is my favorite story.
Oh, I know. This is the Disneyland story.
Yeah,
right?
We went to Disneyland, and Cody had kept telling me that his favorite game was the Toy Story game. We get on the Toy Story game, and I just whomp him. Then we ride the second one where you throw the rings, and I whomp him on that one as well. And he was so angry with me, and he wouldn't walk on the same side of the street with me. And he said I had to have cheated, even though he was controlling the cart the whole time.
Let's be real. It was a faulty machine because my gun wasn't firing. Her gun was firing twice as fast as mine. It wasn't that she was a better shot. It was because the cart that we were in was partially broken.
Guys, my reflexes are just better.
It's not true.
And I said that to him when.
So yeah, we were literally walking around the streets. We were literally walking around the streets of Disney World. And I was on one side of the street and she was on the other side of the street, and we were not talking. Nope. We were not talking because Allie was claiming that she was better than me at a game that
I beat him twice.
That's not what happened.
Twice.
That's
2 times out of 2.
That's not what happened. So, but yeah, we're both freakishly competitive, but we make it work. We just can't play games against each other.
No.
Fun fact, that Disneyland trip, it was so funny. We were staying in, was it a Little Mermaid room, or what kind of room were we in? Was it the I don't remember what theme our hotel room. That's irrelevant.
Oh, it was the Toy Story room. We were right past Buzz.
We were in a Toy Story room at the Disney World Hotel, and like 6 a.m. someone knocks on the door. Yeah. And Allie's like, "What the heck is that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So I get up. Sure enough, it was a drug tester.
Mind you, it's like one room where I'm like trying to sleep. He's getting
so
drug tested.
Awkward.
And I was like, this is
I was
really
like, really, guys,
funny.
you got to come drug test me on my vacation at Disney World? Yeah.
Yep, they caught us in the Disneyland hotel.
It's a lifestyle. Yeah.
But it was worth it.
It was worth it.
It was a fun time.
It was.
Minus our little argument over who won.
Someone asked about our first date. Our first date, I took Allie to a comedy club. I took her to the Comedy Attic and to an Indian restaurant. And I'm not kidding. I remember sitting down, eating Indian food with Allie.
You tell us every time.
I know you hate when I tell it, but she was talking so much. And in my head, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Because you were just chatty. I was like, wow, I've never met someone that talks this much.
Yeah, well, you know.
You talk so much. You're so chatty. And let's be clear, like I was talking about this with Blake on the podcast last time. I'm much more of an introvert than I am an extrovert.
Oh, most definitely.
Thank you. Like Allie, my wife, who knows me better than anyone, will concur that I am very introverted. I have a podcast. I've got a vlog. I utilize social media, but when it comes to being social outside of my immediate circle of friends and meeting people I don't know, I'm not the best at it. I'm trying to get better.
And sometimes you can go 24 hours if I let you without talking.
Yeah. That's just
normal.
Get
in your own little world.
It's just normal for me. And you
I'd like to talk
are
to
an
the
extrovert.
dogs.
You are a true extrovert. It was something that I had to adjust to when we got married. I mean, before we got married, just as we were dating, I was like, all right, this is a different kind of human. And I had to adapt to you.
I'm a different kind of beast.
You are, though. Like, living with you was a lot. It's so funny. People are like, man, you and Allie, like, so talkative. I bet that house is crazy. And I'm like, well, I try.
I wake up wired and ready to go.
Yeah, it's so weird. You wake up
kind of angry.
She wakes up and she's got a
grumpy.
smile on her face and she's just ready to talk. She's ready to dive into a conversation the second she wakes up. And for me, people who watch the vlog know in the morning, I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood when I'm at the pool. I'm in a good mood before I dive in. I'm a happy, jolly type of person.
You get to wake
but
up
when
next
I
to me.
but when I roll out of bed, like I need a few minutes to get the engine started, and I'm not ready to discuss today before today has started. You crazy psycho woman, Allie. But I love it. I do love it.
You know, things happen.
God, madness.
Yeah, you know.
Jeez. You're just a different breed of human. But yeah, our first date, I took her to a comedy club and
he lost our tickets.
Yeah. I totally lost the tickets.
His face when we got to the door and he realized he had lost the tickets that he asked me to print out.
Nervous.
Mind you, he told me that it was supposed to be a surprise, and then he calls me and asks me to print out the tickets. And then I give them to him, and he loses them.
Yeah.
And we didn't even need the tickets, actually. It was really funny to see him sweat about it, though.
They had my name, so it was all good. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, that part was actually pretty funny.
So I asked you guys on social to send out some questions for Allie and I. We should probably talk about some swimming, seeing as this is a swimming podcast. Mm-hmm. Allie, you swam. Tell people a little bit about your swimming. Tell them about your coaching.
Well, I swam since I was really young. I was also a breaststroker and IMer. And then I went to college, and I originally actually wanted to go for architecture. I went to Ball State University in Indiana, and I wanted to go for architecture. Realized that, that's probably not my path. So I went into education and Spanish instead, which I loved. And once I entered college and realized that that's not what I wanted to do, I started to come back and coach with my brother when I was home and able to. And then after that, I just kind of spiraled from there, and I don't know, that's about it. My coaching.
I just let the dog in. Puffy's been outside for a little while. It's like 30 degrees outside, and you guys know Puff, our dog. She's so furry. She just like lives outside. She's a winter dog. She's a winter kind of girl.
She's a lover.
Anyway, so if you're hearing stuff, it's scuttling around because it's our dogs and whatnot. But anyway, yeah, Allie was a coach when I met her.
Yeah.
I mean, you coached pretty much all up until last year. Mm-hmm. You're so good at it.
This year I took the year
so
off.
Good at it. You have a gift that I've just never seen before in other people.
I took this season off because the timing of my new teaching job down here in Bloomington, I get out at 4, but by the time I get to Franklin, which is where I coach with my brother, their practice ends at 5:30, and it's an hour drive at least to get there. So I mean, that would be me there for less than 30 minutes, which is not relevant. It's not, I can't do anything in that time. So meanwhile, during this year, I've been doing some stats and timing wise and charting for the club. Not to mention I still keep in touch with my athletes.
Yeah, I mean, you're really close with your athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was a little bit weird for me when I first met you how close you were with your family. Because don't get me wrong, like I'm close with my family, but you and your family are on like a whole nother level. Like you talk to your parents almost every day. Still,
my brother's
you talk to
my
your
best friend
brothers
aside
so
from you.
much, and like
we coach together.
And it's like my sister and I, Katie and I, like we're close. We love each other. Like we're brother sister. But I'll go a week or two without talking to her, and that's like totally normal. And we're just living our lives. And
whereas I blow my brother's
its
up
just
on a daily basis.
It was a little bit weird.
Stuff.
Like I was a little not weirded out, but it's just something that I had never really witnessed before. That's all. There's nothing wrong with either one. It's just, some people are different. I guess I'm just more introverted, that's all.
I talk to my sister quite frequently as well.
Yeah.
But I talk to my brother the most, probably.
All right, so anyway, we keep getting off topic here. You guys sent in a lot of questions, so we're going to answer a whole bunch of them. We'll try to get to some swimming stuff because this is a swimming podcast. I know I said that. We're going to start off deep. The first question came from Tristan Dawson. By the way, I'm going to butcher names when I read these questions.
I am too, and I'm going to apologize. As a teacher,
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
You're supposed to be good at this, Allie.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be.
Sometimes I am.
So Tristan asks, he says, you guys should talk about how you want to be remembered in the community and the impact you hope to have on the swimming world. Deep. So this is not why I started the vlog or why I started the podcast, but it has been a result that has been more rewarding than something that I anticipated, and that is the ripple effect of starting the vlog. The number of people who reach out to me on a regular basis, telling me that I've somehow positively impacted their swimming or their kids' swimming, or a coach has told me how influential I've been to their athletes. Just today we were laying in bed when I woke up this morning, and Allie was sifting through my Instagram messages. The nice thing about Instagram is, if you're, I don't know if it does this for everyone, but if you're like a verified person, like if you got one of those blue checks, it kind of filters.
It does it for everyone.
It does? Okay.
He was good. In my extra
Oh, it was? Okay. So on Instagram, you know how if you send a message to someone and like you're not their friend or you don't follow them and it thinks that it might be spam or someone you just don't know, it goes into a separate message folder. So the majority of the messages that people send me, like I never really see because it goes to that other separate folder, which is honestly a good thing because I get so many messages that it would literally blow up my phone. But every once in a while, I'll dip in and kind of sift through. And this morning we were laying in bed and Allie was sifting through hundreds of messages from people. And the majority of them are all super positive. And it's all stemmed from the vlog. And I haven't realized it until I've really thought about it, until Allie and I have actually talked about it, how many lives I've touched and how many people have been affected by the vlog and by the things that I'm doing. So I guess coming back to the question is, how do you want to, impact the swimming community? How do I want to positively affect it? I want to continue to make change and continue to grow it. And I spoke with Blake earlier on the first podcast about how one of my long-term goals is to help the world of swimming and particularly the world of professional swimming. I want to be able to look back in 10 years at the current professional swimmers and being like, man, those guys have it good. And I want to be able to say that I helped that somehow. And I think that by growing the sport, by doing these podcasts, by continuing to do the vlog and doing new things and experimenting with new things, I think it'll really push the needle forward for our sport in a positive direction. And honestly, I'm pretty proud of that.
Whereas, like, as a coach, I see it more on the teacher side, and I think about it more as I am just a small stepping stone in some of these people's careers. So hoping that I can touch a life and change them in some minute way, but understand I'm part of the smaller. I'm a smaller piece into the bigger picture for that kid or that person, which is so much like teaching. I'm just a mere stepping stone in these kids' lives, and so as a coach, we really are.
Yeah, now Allie really is the type of person who is so caring and compassionate that she just invests herself in other people, and it comes natural to her.
It's hard not to.
But that's weird though, because for me, that's not natural. Like, it's not natural for me to just meet someone and then immediately invest like my soul and 100% caring and compassion into that person. It's not that I'm not a caring and compassionate person. It's just you by nature are so overwhelmingly loving, and you are a person who is always helping people even when you don't realize you're doing it. And like for me, I'm way more selfish than that, and I know that. Like I'm by nature like a pretty selfish person, and I'm constantly trying to put my ego in check and be less selfish and be more giving. And I think doing the vlog and doing videos and doing events and interacting with people has helped me with that. But that's one thing that I admired about you so much when I met you. I was like, geez, you're just like a different kind of human. You're just like a loving person. As a 6th grade student,
I had a teacher that really, he had an innate way of making people feel special by just little things that he said. Could be, he probably didn't remember half of the things that you told him, or that maybe he told you, but he had an innate way to make you feel important and special. And I just remember that feeling. And as a teacher now, I try and emulate that for my 6th grade kids because it's such an impactful age group. Yeah. And so I guess it kind of transpires into my daily life too.
It's so cool. I feel like I've been lucky that starting this vlog and hopefully this podcast, it reaches people that I would have otherwise never met, never reached, made an impact on.
Right.
And that's really cool. And, the cooler thing is, the athletes and the Olympians that I idolized as a kid, if one of them had a podcast, oh my God, I would have listened to that every single day. Like, honestly, and I've said this before, I was like, if Brendan Hansen had a YouTube channel or a podcast, I would have devoured every second of that if I could. And I hope that someone out there is thinking, the same way. Like, they're just kind of absorbing things like a sponge.
Right, and they are. It's just maybe not the people that you might have thought. People are grasping onto what you're giving. It's kind of like you're selling a metaphorical product. And in order to be an effective leader, you must be able to sell your product, and people are picking up what you're putting out there, even if it's not necessarily just a swimmer.
Yeah.
It could be a triathlete. Yeah, it could be just somebody who's going through times.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten messages from people who aren't in the swimming world saying, hey, I love your videos, or you've opened up my eyes to this or that. Or, and the vlog is primarily a form of entertainment. Like, it's semi-informative, but it's predominantly entertainment. And that's by design, like, I'm not out there trying to teach people things. Like, I'm an idiot. I don't know a whole lot. I'm pretty good at swimming in a pool, but, I explain some things, like some sets, but predominantly it's entertainment purposes. And one of the cool things is just the sheer volume of people from around the world that have reached out to me because of like, one of the craziest things is, like, after the Olympics, I gained a little bit. I'm not famous by any means. You and I know that. I mean, if I'm on a pool deck, people know who I am. But when we leave the pool here in our small town, sometimes people recognize us when we go to restaurants or whatever. But ultimately, we're totally normal people.
Right.
But after I started the vlog, that kind of changed, because beforehand people knew who I was, but no one would ever really just come up and approach me and talk to me. But now that I'm on kids' cell phones and they're watching me every week, and they see you too, you've told me that you have kids wanting to take pictures with you, which is madness, which is crazy. But it's cool though, because I think it's certainly made me way more you're already way more approachable than I am. You're just way more likable than I am. That's just a fact. You are, and you are. But
I don't know.
Anyway, we got a lot of questions to go through. Allie, go ahead, give us another question.
Let's see here. Pixie Power asks, who do you think will be a cooler parent? Totally me.
I would like to disagree with that.
I think that's going to be a no-brainer.
That's because you're the spontaneous one who is, I'm going to have to be the stern father figure who puts the foot down and who says no to things, because you're all about having fun and doing this and doing that, and all that's great, but, like, you've got to have some solid parenting foundation. I'm not giving you credit. You're going to be a great parent. I'm just saying.
Let's back that up.
Well, let's just, who wanted to bring home a third dog today?
Okay, who bought Lego?
Well, yeah, but that's different.
Yeah,
that's
who
different.
Brought home Lego?
We didn't already have 2 dogs.
But we only had 1.
Yeah, but you and I had already discussed getting 2.
No, I told you not to do anything.
All right, maybe the most spontaneous thing I've ever done is I purchased Lego without telling Allie. We saw him at the dog store, fell in love with him, said no, and then came back, and I was like, I have to get him. Had to get him. I mean, we had to get him from the breeder. It was just something I couldn't not do.
Yeah.
I was obsessed. Anyway, that was spontaneous.
Yeah.
But other than that, Allie's way more spontaneous than I am. And by the way, that was one of the best decisions ever, because Puff and Lego are best friends.
He's a nuggle man.
And they give us another question.
Let's see here. Oh, how do I, like you and I, live as a professional athlete and a coach? How does it affect our life together? I go back and forth with this. Sometimes I wish I didn't know anything about swimming and I was kind of in this relationship, because then I wouldn't understand times and things like that. Whereas since I am in this world, I do know his coach really well outside of Cody. It makes it a little bit more difficult in the aspect of when he doesn't do well, or when he's like down, or when he's super excited, or when it's kind of stressful going into certain meets.
Allie's very
things
understanding.
Like that.
And I love that because as much as the two of us love swimming and know a lot about swimming, we really don't discuss my swimming nearly at all. Like, very rarely do Allie and I actually discuss my season, what I'm doing in the water, what I'm doing, you know. And because honestly, like, for me, it's a career and I love it, but it's like taking work home. You know, like, when I leave the office, I don't want to talk about it. If I have a good practice, great, I celebrate it in the moment, and then I move on. If I have a terrible practice, I don't want to bring that home and just be grouchy and be moody. And so, honestly, we don't really talk a whole lot about my training, about my swimming, and I think that's a good thing. But at the same time, like, you get it, like, you understand everything. And particularly, the crazy thing is, you got to know my coaches at IU so well before we started dating, and you know them very, very well because you worked with them, and that helped because those are some of the most influential, important people in my life, still currently, that I interact with the most, and you just kind of get it, and we don't have to do, you know, I'll tell you something was said or whatever, and you immediately know, and that was like a blessing in disguise. Like, I didn't even realize that.
It's kind of like, I know his circle without him asking me to know his circle.
And I don't see how that could have worked out any better, honestly.
Kate Sullivan asked, what is the toughest thing about it? It's kind of like a roller coaster at meets. I can say for the Olympics by itself, I mean, it was just like an emotional roller coaster. But I think it's I can understand it being a coach. I think I get more excited for my athletes' swims than I ever did as a swimmer. When I was down at IU, you guys take those tests.
The lactic acid testing. So
we were at Big Ten.
We should probably explain what that is.
Okay, you explain what it is.
All right, so lactic acid testing, when you swim a race and when you do anything, when your muscles start to fatigue and when you start to fail and you get that painful burning sensation in your muscles, that is a buildup of lactic acid. That is just a naturally occurring thing. And the faster you can filter out that lactic acid burn, the faster you can recover. And so they have these tests that we do on the pool deck where essentially they prick you with a needle gun, they prick your finger or your ear, they take a little drop of blood, and then they test it in this tiny little handheld machine that tells you your lactic acid levels. And we use those in training, we use those at meets to kind of benchmark how quickly you're recovering. Allie, you can continue with your story.
So we were at Women's Big Tens the year that I was the volunteer coach. And Ray and Mike were trying to show me how it works. And they're pricking my finger. It was like 9 a.m. I hadn't had anything but water. I hadn't had tea. I don't drink coffee.
Yeah, thank God.
Honestly, nothing. And they're showing this, and I was just super excited. I get really, 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 really excited for meets. And I was an 8.5.
Which is super high. Like, really high. Like, an 8.5, some people swim races and they get out of the water.
Ray immediately looked at me and he was like, what is wrong with
you? What is wrong with you?
How much caffeine have you had?
Seriously.
And I was like, I haven't had any.
Like, your resting lactic acid level is way too high. Like, you were way too stressed.
My last middle school conference meet. So in middle school, our last meet is conference. Everything's built up to conference. And I think I slipped and fell on the pool deck maybe 6 times because I was running and jumping so hard. And it was a great meet. It was so much fun.
I can see you falling and eating it.
One time the official caught me. Whoops.
All right. It was a lot of fun. Donovan asks, where do you get all your Harry Potter pops?
Everywhere.
Pretty much everywhere. A lot of them online.
We scour Bloomington.
Yeah, we do. We go to the stores around town. Like, with the new Fantastic Beasts movies coming out, new pops are coming out all the time. And so we'll go over to Think Geek, or we'll go to Hot Topic, or we'll go to Barnes & Nobles, and we'll pick them up the day they come out. It's something we do together. It's kind of fun. It's like a bonding thing. But yeah, I just remembered yesterday, Allie was like, Cody.
I was checking my bank account.
She was like, I think I have fraud on my credit card. And I was like, really? Like, what did you buy? She's like, I don't think I spent this much money. So she checked and she'd spent $250 on Harry Potter pops that she didn't remember.
Well, I did remember, but they came up on my card as separate purchases. And that big niffler was like $85.
The big niffler.
I was like, what did I spend for $85? Yeah. One person asks, which Harry Potter house am I in? 5 years ago, I took the test, and I was a Gryffindor. However, I took the test maybe a year and a half ago when I was in class with my students, and I'm now a Slytherin, so I like to call myself a Slythindor.
I'm a Slytherin. Move on.
I think Cody is rubbing off on me.
Uh,
Logan asked, how did I help Cody when his plans this past summer didn't actually turn out as he wanted? I think just being aware and understanding of the situation and understanding of the swimming world in general.
It's tough because, you know, like as you guys know who follow me, I did not have a great summer. But the thing that sucks is like when I don't do well, it bothers me because it's my job and it's been what I'm working for and I have goals and sometimes you hit them, sometimes you don't. But at the same time, I have other people who have been counting on me and who have been working with me, and particularly the most who have been sacrificing for me. So Allie makes a ton of sacrifices with our relationship for my career right now, more so than anyone really knows or understands. I mean, we live in Bloomington, which is about an hour south of Indianapolis, which is where all of Allie's friends live.
And my coaching.
And her brother lives up there, and so she moved away from her family to live in a town with me. And we don't have the most friends here. We don't have super social lifestyles, and she's sacrificing for me. And that's just one thing. We're not going to get into super details, but she makes a lot of sacrifices, a lot of sacrifices for my swimming career. And I'm very grateful of that. And I'm aware of that, and sometimes I need to, quite honestly, do a better job of telling her that. Like I try to tell her how much I love her every day. I try to thank her for everything. But, you know, you can never be grateful enough. I'll put it that way. But Allie makes a lot of sacrifices, and I love her for it. So she's the best. I'm also lucky because she does cook. She cooks dinners for me a lot, quite regularly.
Quite regularly?
Yeah, almost every night, most of the time. Yeah.
I do the cooking in our.
She's a good cook. I lucked out, guys. I really lucked out. You're a really good cook.
Culper21 asks how I balance coaching and teaching. Well, number one, I got really lucky, and my head coach is my brother. He coaches at Franklin Regional Swim Team in Indiana, as well as Franklin Community High School. And so he pretty much, and by pretty much, he does all of it. I do a lot of the detail stuff, or I run the workouts within my group, but I got really lucky. He does pretty much everything, and by pretty much everything, I truly mean literally everything except for my workouts. As far as teaching, it's a balancing act. It's
not easy.
It's a beast, and easy. You just kind of have to understand and get as much as you can done in what you have to work with, and then take it from there.
Crazy thing is,
that's the hardest part.
The crazy thing is, like, for us, as I said, like, Allie makes sacrifices. So because I'm training all the time, and particularly when I'm training super hard, I'm so physically exhausted because some days I'm working out 5 plus hours a day, multiple days, and then Saturday or Sunday rolls around and I'm so exhausted I don't want to do anything. I don't want to leave the house. And then Allie, at the same time, she's exhausted in a different way because she describes it as the second she wakes up, she goes to school and there's, 120 people who need things from her, who are asking things from her, or who rely on her. And then she's got other jobs that she does and other things, and so we're both super, super busy. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like, when the weekend roll around, we don't really do a whole lot. We don't really do much. I like to have just Netflix days. Quite honestly, today, outside of this podcast, is pretty much a Netflix day. I mean, it's pretty much a chill day.
We've pretty much done Netflix.
You're just watching Scandal, right? Yeah, I can't watch that with you, though.
Well, it's kind of like a mindless show for me to watch when I grade papers and stuff like that. I really like the movies. I really like a lot of things on Netflix. Yeah,
someone
documentaries, done deal. Love those documentaries.
You're so weird, though. Oh, yeah. First of all, we do love a lot. We watch a lot of good documentaries. Like, we're watching Making a Murderer right now. We're about to watch season 2 of Daredevil. We watched The Staircase. That's such a good one on Netflix.
Good one.
Oh, my God, that one was good. But Allie likes some creepy, weird stuff, too. Like, she loves horror movies. Oh, my God, guys. Allie, it's weird. Like, you love all horror movies. Doesn't matter how good or how bad. I mean, I went and saw The Nun with you, which was fine. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I came home once and she was watching a documentary on Jeffrey Dahmer by herself. Just creepy, sadistic.
Things are fascinating.
Like, brain-eating monster.
It is not.
So creepy.
All right, moving on.
Well, it's true. It's weird. Super weird.
Fly Girl Swimmer asks, what does a typical day look like for Allie compared to Cody?
Totally depends on the day.
Depends on the day. Normally, he wakes up a little bit before I do, or we wake up relatively the same.
Yeah.
You have a couple mornings off, or one morning off.
One morning off. I get Wednesday morning off. That's it.
And my day really looks like I wake up and sometimes I work out in the morning before school, and then I go to school. Then I come home and cook. And by that time, Cody, depending on his practice, is home within an hour span. It's literally like an hour span. And then I get some grading done. I normally play with the dogs a lot. They like when I go outside with them and play. But pretty much that's my typical
that's
like day to day.
Right. I come to lunch a lot. Like I come and eat lunch with you at school now. Because Allie's school is really close, right around the corner. So like we have lunches together. Shoot, the ladies in the office say, "Man, you come by. Like they know who I am because I come by the most." All right, Khalil. I'm sorry if I butchered your name.
Oh, that was the one I was gonna do too.
Really? Okay. Well, it says, "How are you and Allie living as a professional athlete and a coach? How does it affect your life together?"
It's a balance.
We've kind of already touched on that. I mean, we're not professionals. We're just
it's a
trying
learning
stuff.
curve.
We're constantly learning. We're constantly learning more about each other, and then we fight, and then we figure it out, and then we become okay with it.
We don't really fight that often.
Yeah, I guess not.
But when we talk about swimming, we do talk about
we talk about swimming a lot. It's just not my
Cody's
swimming. Yeah, exactly.
We talk about a lot of recruiting stuff.
Oh yeah, so much.
A lot of recruiting stuff. A lot of just meetings.
I'll tell you what. If there's a college coach out there, I'll go ahead and say it. There's not a better person. I'm clearly biased because I'm married to her, but there's not a better person
You're very biased.
in America that knows more about age group swimming and age groups times. Like for me, kids ask me all the time, what was your time at this age? Or what's a good time for a 15-year-old in this event? What's a good time for so-and-so in this event at this time of the season? And quite honestly, guys, like I don't know those questions, but Allie, it's weird. We really compliment each other because when it comes to the elite of elite swimming, times, training, stats, all of those things, I'm really good at. Like that's me and Blake's kind of thing. But age group level, young, teenage, and high school swimming. I mean, if I have any questions about high school swimming, about what's good, what's not good, I ask Allie because you just know. You're so smart with that kind of stuff.
Madalena,
like a power swimming team,
asked. She's a swimmer from Switzerland, and she's asking about how high school swimming is in America. Well, honestly, high school swimming I think it's
I'm gonna let Puff outside.
It's very different within each state. Here in Indiana, high school swimming is a big deal. Each high school has their own pool. We have their own program. So there are a lot of different clubs here within Indiana. I can't speak for other areas. Cody said that it wasn't like that where he's from. We also have a thing called middle school swimming.
Yeah, that we didn't have. That was crazy.
And some middle schools
when I found
pools.
out that you were a middle school swim coach, that blew my effing mind.
It's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I had 75 kids on my middle school roster.
That's crazy. That's great. Yeah, the thing that honestly, guys, I know I've said this before, but the thing that attracted me the most to Allie when I met her was just sheerly her work ethic, because she was coaching a middle school program, a club team, coaching IU morning and afternoon in another town, and teaching fifth and sixth grade math at two different schools.
No, I had sixth grade social studies, seventh grade science at two different middle schools.
Yeah, that blew me. You were like a Swiss Army knife.
I was like all over the place.
Yeah, you were. That was, I mean, but someone who has their stuff together and who owns it and knows who they are, like that's why I was like, oh, this girl.
I gotta do a shout out to Coach Polano. It's Jason.
Oh my God.
Jason asks, what do I usually do while Cody's vlogging?
Allie doesn't like to be in the vlog all that often. She's like, I don't look good. Don't show me. Don't show me.
No, it's not. No, I think it depends on where you're vlogging. The airport was really weird.
You used to hate it.
The airport it's really weird when you're walking around and people are just staring.
Yeah.
And you're talking to the camera, and that part's really weird. So no, I didn't want to be that.
We got to take that toy from you. That squeaking's going to get annoying.
So I normally play with the dogs, Netflix, grade. I do a lot of different things. I'm a jack of all trades over here, Jason. And besides Blake and Cody, my favorite IU swimmer, it's a really hard one.
Probably, if you don't say Lily, she's going to shoot you.
No, I would definitely say Lily, but I don't know if you're talking about guys team or women's team. I would definitely say Lil. I also am pretty biased. I think Vinny is an outstanding member of the IU team.
Anyone from South America, Vinny Alonso is our boy. We love that guy.
I think he embodies what a teammate should be.
Fun fact.
He's all about...
Fun fact. Our coach Ray asked Allie what she thought of Vinny.
I was at a swim meet for Cody out in
watching
Santa
him
Clara.
race.
And he came in the stands and asked me, because Mike wasn't there, no one was there to see. And he was like, what is your professional opinion?
And she told him how awesome she thought he was.
I said, I think you should get him.
And now he's such a baller. He's so fast. I got to have Vinny on the podcast. He's such a good teammate. And he's so fast.
He's so funny.
That dude's going to win.
Oh, and I want to get... I'm telling you, Mishu,
Yeah.
Mishu I just want to hug him.
All right. You guys have seen Mishu. He's the bear from the vlog. Okay, next question. Swimmer I Am asks, how were your teens like? Were they any different from others in the way that you spend most of your time? So, great question. I was super awkward. I'll be totally honest with you. Like, outside of the swimming pool, I didn't have friends. Like, at high school, even in high school and younger, at school, I didn't really have any friends. Like, I was a weirdo. You know, I was just... not social. At the pool, I had friends because, when you're on, people who swim understand that when you spend so much time with swimmers, like, you develop relationships with them and they become your friends. And to this day, the only friends that I communicate with that I knew from high school or younger are people that I swam with. Our dogs are making weird noises right now. I'm sorry. The mics are probably picking
Isabel
up
Morgan asked, do I miss
What
Cody
about you?
when he
What were your
trains?
teens like? You didn't even answer that question.
Oh, I was super social.
I know you were.
I was super social.
You were the most chatty, the most talkative. Everyone knew you. You were popular.
No.
You and I were so different. I was a loser. Okay, that's not true.
I was a
but
cheerleader and a swimmer.
There's nothing wrong with being antisocial, with thinking you're weird.
No.
Like, if you feel uncomfortable right now and you're listening to this,
I was totally
doesn't
weird
matter.
back in the day. I was just really chatty. Like, I was the one getting in trouble for talking. But I was definitely in my own little world. I had my own little things going on. And I was totally fine. I cheered for a little while, if you can believe that.
I feel like you and I don't know if we would have been super, super cool with each other.
I think I would have reeled you in.
Okay, give us another question.
I think this one's the coolest question.
Right,
Southeast Selkie
right.
says, if you, Cody, were reincarnated into Allie for a period of time, which part of her life would you want to live in and experience?
That is such a bizarre
That is a good question.
That's so bizarre.
Which part of me would you
don't
want to
even
experience?
I don't know. You know what? I would want to experience what it was like to be with me on our first date from the other side. Like, if you could watch that in first person and relive that, but from a third person's perspective or your perspective, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
But that's such a weird question. I mean, good job.
Isabel Morgan asked, do I miss Cody when he trains? No, because I have to cook 5 meals for him.
You don't have to do anything. Let's be very, very clear.
Kidding.
I've never once said, hey, you have to do
No,
something.
but when he's like out of town, for a while.
You didn't miss me last time I was out of town.
No, I did not miss you last time you were out of town. The first time you went out of town for a long period of time was the first summer we were together, and you just kept extending your trip.
So the first summer this was summer of 2014.
I
I was in Australia for Pan Pacs, the Pan Pacific Championships, and then I was invited to do the first 2 legs of the World Cup cluster. So basically 6 different cities over the course of I don't know how many weeks, 4, 5, 6 weeks. And they were like, do you want to do this? And I was like, yeah. So I told Al, I was like, hey, I'm not coming home for
You called me. No, you texted me. You didn't even call me. You just texted me from Australia. Oh, hey, by the way, I'm extending my trip.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like, all my friends at home had never met Cody. He was just this fictional character. And all my work friends, I was showing photos. And one of my work friends literally asked me, did you Photoshop yourself in here? No, I didn't Photoshop myself in this picture. So when he came home, he had to come to school to meet my teacher friends.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember meeting one of your teacher friends. They were like, oh, so you are real. I was like, yeah, I just got back from traveling the world. Allie's not lying.
Yeah. Brandon Bell asks us, outside of when we got married, what is our favorite memory of something we did?
We've had some good memories together, some good trips. What are you going to say? Your face. Your face.
When we were standing two summers ago, was Italy, right?
Yeah.
When we were
we were in Rome. When we were in Rome?
Yes. We went to Rome, and it was so hot.
It was like
we were outside the
120 degrees
Vatican,
Fahrenheit.
and we're standing in the middle. It felt like a frying pan.
Yeah.
And
well, so we signed up for official tours of the Vatican, and an hour and a half had gone by, and we weren't even in the Vatican yet.
We weren't even in line to get inside.
And Allie and I are both big into history. We love history. We really do.
I don't sweat that
but
much.
Our tour guide
But
sucked.
I'm not joking you. I was sweating profusely, and I leaned over and I was like, Cody, I am really sweating. It's getting nasty. And he leans over his serious face. And he said, I have legit water droplets running down the back of my legs.
So we finally get into the Vatican, and it's close to, what do you think, 2.5 hours now?
Oh, yeah.
2.5 hours now. And
easy.
and if anyone has ever been to the Vatican or knows anything about it, it's massive.
Mm-hmm.
And we had been on this tour for close to 3 hours, and we barely got inside.
Our guide was so good, for the record. He was great. It was just so hot.
No, he wasn't. He was terrible. Don't lie.
No, he told us a lot of good information. No.
We were bored.
If you like history, he was phenomenal.
You were bored. I was bored.
Not. It was
Whatever.
hot.
I was like, Allie, we are ditching. We're leaving. And she's like, no, we can't do this. We can't do this. And I'm like, we're ditching. We're leaving. And then finally, I just walked away. I was like, peace out. Goodbye. So I'm like roaming through the Vatican halls, and Allie finds me, and then go ahead. You can tell the rest of the story. We sprinted. We walked through the rest of the Vatican at our own pace and had a great time.
We bossed our way through.
We bossed our way through
it.
It was fun,
and it was beautiful. And then we went the stairs. It was great. It was just so stinking hot. But it was really cool though.
I just let Lego back inside. I'm sure everyone can hear him scratching at the window. Yeah, that was super fun. Another really good one.
Oh, you know what? Let's piggyback off that part.
Okay.
So it is really hard to be at times around Cody because he only likes it's amazing how his body can adapt to really hot weather and really warm climates very quickly.
I grew up in the desert.
When we are in the car just today, he's blasting hot air, and I'm
because it's cold outside.
And
it's
when
30 degrees outside.
And it is like I'm sweating. I don't like that feeling, so I always have to turn the air conditioning on. I'll roll down the window, and he gets angry with me that we're not ever on the same page.
Well, I'm always like the human heater in our bed because you're always cold.
No, I like to be that way. I like cold weather. I'm a Midwestern girl in and out.
I'm ready to live somewhere
warm. Fall
warm.
is my favorite. And so, funny story, I was at the Santa Clara meet, and I was with Cody's mom and Debbie and Zane's mom, Terry. And there we're all at the pool, and it's probably like 75 degrees, and I genuinely mean 75 degrees, and it's beautiful. I'm wearing a swimsuit. We're sitting there down by the pool, of all things, the pool. And his mom is in a North Face all the way zipped up, boots and long pants. And Terry is in long pants, boots, a hat, and like a winter jacket. And they're like, "This is so cold." And I was like, "What is wrong with you people? It is beautiful. I'm in a swimsuit. I might get in the water. It's nice." So that's just an aspect about Cody and how he grew up.
We just never agree
really
on
hard.
temperature. Okay, we never agree on the temperature in the car or in the house. It's the house not so bad.
No,
we figure that one out.
Yeah.
But whatever. I think that I run hot. Like I think that my theory is that
I'm like a vampire.
It's true. Allie's like a vampire and I'm like a werewolf. Like I'm very warm blooded and Allie's
and you're
cold-blooded.
hairy.
Yeah, that's true. I'm super hairy. But you're also pale and cold and like you have circulation issues. Your feet get all freezing and it freaks me out. And I mean, you have real circulation problems. Like it's kind of weird.
No, it's just normal.
I don't think that's normal. Anyway, for me though, I just run hot, and I have a theory that because I train so hard and I work out all the time, because I'm working out all the time, my body's like trying to repair itself because my muscle tissue is so worn down.
And I'm just cold and heartless.
Yeah. What's the next question?
Somebody asks, What's my favorite smell or Cody smell? Honestly, I think I have 15 candles of
Popcorn, my favorite smell.
Mold cider, and I don't mean mold, M-O-L-D. I mean M-U-L-L-E-D.
Our house is lit up with candles right now.
It's my favorite.
For reals.
I will buy them all in the store when I find them.
You have another good one? Yeah, our house has a whole bunch of... Allie's really big into those candles you plug into the wall, and it heats stuff up. Yeah. And I actually quite like those, honestly. They're nice. The one thing I don't like about Allie is...
Yeah, tell me. Tell me. Just lay it right out on the line.
She's a little bit of a hypochondriac. So almost every single night, we're laying in bed, and she goes, "Is the garage door closed?" And I go, "Yes, honey." She goes, "Are you sure?"
Speaking of
yes,
the
honey.
person who I asked him one time before, and the garage was open, and then recently you never put the garage down, and then I caught it, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I was out there."
Oh my God, Allie, you're insane. Is the oven off? Is my straightener unplugged? Is the candle blown out?
I just want to make sure.
Is that my job?
Yes, it is. You're the man of the house. Let's see.
Cody, what is the hardest thing that you have ever had to overcome in thinking about your swimming career? Well, that's a loaded question. Honestly, when my dad passed away December of 2015, that was probably the hardest thing I had to deal with, because that was 6 months before Olympic trials, and at that point I was just... Obviously, I was devastated because losing my dad was one of the hardest things I've ever had to comprehend and deal with. Mm-hmm. But I also had to balance that with, hey, I have to keep training at a high level. I have to keep on track because Olympic trials is right around the corner.
That was rough.
That sucked. Yeah, mm-hmm. That's probably it. I mean, there have been other times too where I fell short of a goal or got disqualified at a big meet, or all those things have happened to me before. But I mean, I can go into all those in detail at different times. Yeah.
Sam Burke asks, how do you still have a positive mindset even when you had a horrible race?
I mean, just, it sounds cliche, but you have to compartmentalize, because if you have another race, you have to move forward. And that is just a skill set that you have to just, you have to learn to compartmentalize, and then also understand that it's just a part of the process.
Right. And you have to separate the races. Very rare times when you get to a high level that you're going to just drop time and do amazing in every event that you swim. It's just, it's a different beast.
Yeah. Have you been to Denmark? I'm assuming, Nicholas, because you're asking, you're probably from Denmark. No, that's one country I have not been to.
Would love to.
One thing I want to do when I'm done competitively swimming is just kind of go on tour, do a lot of events, do a lot of speaking engagements, and and be able to travel a lot. And Allie's coming, and we want to do those things.
I'm actually talking about possibly going to Denmark with one of my teaching friends.
Do it
soon.
Do it.
I'm really excited, and I would love to go there.
I'm excited for you.
Ireland is one of my favorite places.
Yeah, Allie's straight up Irish.
I am Irish.
She's Irish. Someone asked if she was. So did someone ask if you were Asian?
They thought
because of your squinty eyes.
Yes.
She's got some squinty little eyes, but no, Allie's just pretty much just Irish.
Yeah. Both sides.
Yeah. So cute.
Joseph Besner, I think I probably butchered that last name. When I first met Cody, did I think he would become an Olympian? Honestly, I didn't even think that far.
What?
I really didn't think that far.
What?
At that point in time, he came off a senior year where it's probably not where he wanted it to be.
Definitely
so
not.
I honestly didn't know how long he wanted to swim, and he wasn't sure how long he wanted to swim. So no, I honestly, and I could have cared less. I told myself very early on I didn't want to date anyone in the swimming world, and look at me now.
I mean, that's the thing though. Like after my senior year, I was in this weird spot where I was a good swimmer, but I wasn't an NCAA champion. I wasn't an American record holder. Right. I had never done anything in the Olympic format in a long course 50-meter pool that really warranted going pro and trying to make it a career. And so, I didn't know. And having Allie, dating her and getting to know her during that time frame where I was like, okay, I'm going to commit to swimming. Like, I'm going to do this. That really helped because, she was an escape. She was something happy and positive and fun outside of the pool. And I've kind of explained to her this later on after I made the Olympics that, just being in her presence and spending time with her outside of the pool was like a form of therapy for me that really, really helped me perform at my very best when I needed to, but also preparing for it in the months in advance. So it's really a team effort. I mean, no one got anywhere, built an empire alone. That's for sure. Joseph asked Allie, how do you feel about Cody's vlogging?
I like it. I think it's fun. He enjoys it. I thought it was a little weird at first.
She didn't like it at first. She hated it.
I wouldn't say I hated it, but
I know why.
It consumed you for a while.
So for me, I have a super addictive personality.
Yep.
A very, very, very addictive personality. And I've been so obsessed with filmmaking and movies my entire life, and when I finally started learning how to actually edit film myself, I became consumed by it. And when I was thinking about these vlogs, I was trying to construct it in a way where everything I was looking at, I was like, okay, how can I mold this into a story that I can film and then edit together? And it really took away from just time that I was spending with Allie. It was too consuming. And I think I've gotten better about, balancing it and understanding, okay, this is family time. This is time for me to be present with Allie. And when I say be present, I mean, I'm not sitting there on my cell phone. I'm not there thinking about vlogging. I am 100% giving of my attention to her or whatever it is we're doing together. So Allie and I will have times like on Sundays or on the weekends where we just put our phones away for several hours, where we're doing things together. Even if we're just watching TV, if you're sitting there watching TV, we're not also on our phone. We're not sifting through Instagram. Right. We're not sifting through Twitter. We're worried about only what we are doing now in the present and no external forces. And I think that that's really important, because I think that in order to decompress as a professional athlete, or just as a person in the workforce or a person in school, I think that separating yourself from this external world that we live in through the internet is really important. And being actually present when you're doing something is really important. And for a moment in time, I kind of lost sight of that because I was so infatuated and obsessed with filmmaking and making these videos.
I think that's the best way to put that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that now I'm a lot better at it. And now sometimes I was like, hey, you should vlog that. And I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah.
Richie Soltis actually asked a really good question. How many times did you ask me out before I said yes? And if in a similar situation, how would one know when to stop asking?
You wouldn't be my girlfriend.
But
great question.
It is a really good question.
Yeah.
And honestly, when Cody was asking me, it was still in the really early days where I was trying to gauge his interest level. And I was honestly just trying to read him and his emotions, because I felt as if someone was going to ask repetitively, then it could be for obviously a couple different reasons, but I was trying to see where he was going with it. And during that time I was still asking, hey, we can talk, things like that. We still chatted. I was just saying very, very sternly, like, no on the girlfriend part, because I wanted to make sure he was serious about me before I would ever go down that path. I'm not looking to at the time I wasn't looking for, I don't know, to be like screwed over in a sense.
You want to be taken seriously.
Right. And I hold myself in very high regards, so therefore I wanted to make sure that, okay, if this is going to work, how is this going to work? Right. And make sure that he was serious about it. So honestly, I think just knowing that person and getting to know, I was clearly sending messages and signals to him that I still was interested in him, but I was not sure I wanted to be his girlfriend for those reasons.
You can't give someone really advice and every situation is different.
Right.
So, I we're in no place to give advice.
No, it's not at all.
You just have to read the situation,
right,
and see
and know the other person and hope for the best, that person's going to be honest with you and tell you why. I told him exactly why I felt the way I did. Right.
Yeah.
I have another one. Katie Kreider asks, what are we going to do for Friendsgiving? Hopefully I have Friendsgiving with you, Katie. So Katie is one of the coaches at New Trier outside Chicago. So I'm hoping she's going to come back in town. Fun fact, she actually swam against me in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We weren't on the same team, and we didn't swim the same events, but we weren't super close yet at that time.
Let's see. Swimming Pete 421 asks, what's your favorite advice you got from someone? Man, that's good. I could do a whole video or a whole podcast on pieces of advice that people have given me that have stuck with me. I have in my brain little moments of times where my coaches growing up told me things that for whatever reason, they stuck with me, and they still stuck with me today. And I just, one of my favorite quotes is, today, I don't know who said this, but the quote is, today I'm doing things that other people won't, so that tomorrow I can do things that other people can't. And I think that is a motto that most people should live by, that, when you're doing things that you may not necessarily want to do, you have to remind yourself of the end goal. And you also have to love the process. Like, sometimes we do things in practice that I hate and I don't want to do, But at the same time, in a freaky, weird, twisted kind of way, I kind of like it. Like, I kind of like doing things that suck. I get a good feeling of satisfaction out of doing something that really sucks. Doing a 409 for time, doing a 400 breaststroke pull for time, something hard that you know is going to hurt. And the second you're on the other side of that, it's like you get this rush of satisfaction. I just kind of took that and ran with it, but we could do a whole podcast on that, on good pieces of advice. Let's be clear, I'm in really no position to give anyone advice.
No.
I know a little bit about swimming. That's about it. I'm new to marriage. That's about it. I'm an idiot who is just currently downloading Red Dead Redemption 2 so that I can play some Xbox after this podcast. But, you know.
I was just telling Cody last night that one of my very respected principals and mentors one time told us in a meeting not to live for the 2/7 of life. Like the weekends. And I just kept thinking, as an adult, of course you were going to live for the weekends. You know, you don't have to work. So I didn't really understand that concept, but I loved my work. So therefore, I didn't see it as just a job. I saw it as, you know, my future and exciting and excitement. And so as I got older, well, by older, a few years down the line, I really reflected and I look back on it, and you know, he did. That's true. Mr. Bullen is very accurate in that statement with a lot of people in life. And if you are living for the 2/7 of your life, then you need to probably make a change to make yourself.
True.
You should make yourself happy, and even if you have to take a gutsy move, then do it.
Yeah. I agree.
That's fair for you, that's something you owe yourself.
That's a really good question to end
Now, granted, I'm no therapist and I am no advice giver of any kind. I'm just saying that, you know, that actually really resonated with myself.
We don't know anything. Anyone who claims to know everything is a liar. We pretty much know nothing. I feel like that's just the lifestyle of a human.
I know my puffin Lego.
All right, that was a great question to end on.
Yes.
So we're a little over an hour right now, so I think we're going to wrap it up. Let us know, if you're listening to this on YouTube, let us know in the comment section what you thought of this. If you want to hear more from Allie, if you want her on the podcast more, if you have specific questions that you want answered, if you have specific topics you want talked about, reach out to me on social media. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably already follow me on social media, but if you don't, go ahead, hit me up on Instagram, just @CodyMiller, and on Twitter, @SwimMiller. Go ahead, like me on Facebook. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Cody Miller Adventures. Vlogs every Wednesday. I'm trying to do weekly Allie, you're tickling my foot. Please don't do that. Dang it. Vlogs every Wednesdays. I'm trying to do podcasts more regularly. Go ahead, follow Allie too. Allie, what's your Instagram and Twitter handle?
My Instagram is Allie_G_Miller. Allie Miller.
Okay, follow Allie.
And
you don't even really use Twitter that much. Whatever, just find Allie.
I just like to follow people on Twitter.
Yeah, just find Allie. Go ahead, follow her too. And you know, like in the future,
@DeWitt_Allie.
Nailed it.
That's my Twitter.
Nailed it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that Blake and I will probably do so he's at the World Cups right now, but when he gets back, we will certainly be doing a lot more podcasting, and we're probably going to do like a swim talk show.
We're going to get Ray on here too.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get Ray and Lily on I've got a list of people that are going to be on the podcast. It's coming. It's going to be really cool. And also we're trying to improve the audio. I know the audio is not the best. Look, I've got these professional microphones. I just don't know anything about audio. I don't know how to set it up. It's a lot more complicated than it sounds. You don't just plug it in and go. It's difficult, but I'm working on it. So hopefully the audio is okay. Videos coming. I don't really have anything else. I guess, I hope you guys had a good time listening to us talk. We'll do this again. Please let us know in the comment section what you thought, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys.
Bye.